we have started burning something on the table.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the council meeting of September 9th, 2024. Thank you, Councillor Donaldson, for the territorial acknowledgement earlier this evening at the special finance meeting. Council, we have the agenda before us. We'd like to add other business, item 12, discussion about the agricultural plan. If you could add that to the agenda. With that, if there's no other additions, I would like a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Gray, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
And Mayor Little, I'll recuse at item 11.11a, bylaw number 704.
Okay. Councillor Donaldson?
I will need to as well.
Okay. I'll leave it to you to exit when you're supposed to. Thank you for that, both of you. We don't have any presentations, but we do have time for public participation. Should you wish to speak at the microphone, if you could give us your name and the street you live on, and you'll have 4 minutes. Thank you.
Patty Whitehouse, Rocky Point. I just wanted to acknowledge the presence of not only every member of this council helping out at Metchosin Day yesterday, but every councillor from the last council as well. What a group of community-minded citizens. Thank you.
Jim McPherson, Eagle Tree Place. I see that there was no reference on the agenda package for a September 4th news item in the Goldstream Gazette entitled Cost of 911 Police Calls Offloaded to 10 South Island Communities. According to the article, all of the South Island municipalities, including Metchosin, will, as of April 1st, 2025, have to pick up all of the costs of the ECOM 911 service. Until now, these have been picked up by the federal and provincial governments. The article notes that for Colwood alone, that they would have to find $500,000 annually. No estimate was provided for Metchosin. Apparently, Metchosin was part of a letter of protest sent on December 31st, 2023 to the Treasury Board, and that there has been no answer. I just have a few questions. The first one being, why haven't we been informed before now of the Metchosin contribution? And from council, what would be the estimated cost for Metchosin? Many thousands of dollars, I would suspect. I understand that this letter has been forwarded to the, or this request has been forwarded through to the Chief Financial Officer for incorporation into budget decisions in October for this coming year. But it raises the question still as to why we weren't informed that this was pending. Do we really expect anything to be done before April 1st, especially if there was a new government? And do we have any idea as to what the potential impact will be on next year's budget? How will this offloaded cost affect all of your other spending plans for the next year? And why isn't this being accounted for in budgetary processes for these kinds of unanticipated costs? If this goes ahead, the implications for Metchosin taxpayers are could be horrendous. We deserve and need more forthright and transparent information on this one from council. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Gary Lamb, Hackmore Drive. Question I've got is the rationale for exempting private schools from property taxes when in fact that goes solely to the benefit of the shareholders of those schools, when in fact that tax benefit could go to further enhance the public school system. So I just raised that question, why they are being considered for tax exemption.
Thank you.
Lisa Kangaroo Road. Just want to welcome the new CFO. That's very exciting that we have a new CFO, and hope you guys all had a lovely summer. I had 2 points that I wanted to bring up tonight. First of all, about the downtown core. I'd like to put in the request again early in the season that we see some garbage cans in the downtown core. I think, as far as I know, we're the only municipality that doesn't have public garbage cans in our downtown core, which we really need. We have a business improvement fund. I don't know if I have the right name for it, but a business fund that, as far as I know, hasn't been used yet. So 2-3 garbage cans for public use would be really helpful. It's very close to the works yard, easy to take care of. So I put in that a request again, as well as to be looking at the EV charger and bringing in revenue from that to making it a 4 charge, but we also need electric vehicle charging in our downtown core, and I know it's been discussed before, so I'm hoping it can make it back on this year. And the other thing I wanted to address again is the Buckingham Estates. As far as I'm aware, it is somewhat out of council's hands, but I think there's still a number of concerns that council should be looking at. The biggest thing being water. I'd like to bring up again that is a major concern that we don't have water going out there in terms of fire suppression and in terms of protection of Hewitt Creek and therefore Bilston watershed. So I'm hoping that will be looked at and paid attention to. I think there's also issues with the protection of the riparian areas. That's been established by MEASC. The road still is not wide enough, despite the engineer having been out and taken a look at it, for the amount of traffic, especially with the addition of suites, the potential of 18 houses, but also suite, and the amount of traffic on that road. Already our garbage trucks and recycling trucks actually back down the road because they can't turn around and go back up again. So I'd like to bring those concerns back to the attention of council. Understanding that some of this comes under the CAO and the planner, but also understanding that the CAO and the planner are employees of the district, and that council is here to represent us, and we need to make it a point that this is of concern to this district, that protecting our environment, protecting our riparian areas, protecting our water are primary concerns here, over top of development. And I'm not saying don't go ahead with the development. It has to go ahead. The developers put in so much already, but it has to be done in the responsible manner and a manner that protects our environment. And I think at this point, we're not there yet by any means. And that's going to be a loss to the neighbors. And that is another big concern, is putting in a development that impacts and in fact causes issues for existing neighbors. So I think there's enough leadership and dedication at this table to make that happen. And I think I'm over time, so thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Gray?
Yes, I'd just like to respond. Our planner is in touch with the CRD, and there was a grant that was put forward through the CRD. I think 2 charges are going to be coming to Metchosin. It's just a question of timing now.
Thank you.
Ruth Nicol. I live on Pierce Road, and actually everything I was going to say has been just said, but I think I'll bring in the emotional side that maybe isn't appropriate here, but I want to say it anyway. The rights of property are considered God-given, I gather, if our King of England is where it starts. And while I respect the property owner's rights, I don't think we hear enough about the rights of nature. This is a forest. Creatures live in it. I have asked, and I no doubt we'll we'll eventually get a report on whether that has been looked at. Who is living there already? Which people with 4 legs? We know the trees are there, and that's an issue, but there are bear, there are cougar, there's garter snakes, there's tree frogs, there's deer, more, and I don't think that enough attention is ever paid to that. So when developers bring something forward, I I think that should almost be the first question that they're asked to address. I'm very concerned too with the water issue. The wells are going dry already, and these people are going to each drill a well. That's questionable, at the very least. The other thing is, this is housing. I'm privileged to live here and realize that. I feel terrible bringing this up. But this is housing for privileged people. That's great. But right now, I know so many people who can't find a place for their farm laborers to live close by. Elders are leaving the community because they can't find a safe or affordable place when they're no longer able to maintain their property here. And people's kids, people whose kids have grown up and worked all their lives living in Metchosin, but they can't find anything to buy here, and they won't be able to afford Beckingham. So that's all I had to say. Thank you. I know, before I go, I know how hard everybody must have worked on this, and I really do appreciate that. And I don't see a way around this, but I think maybe you will. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Alison Leduc, Darien Place. I also hope you all had a good summer and got some rest. My question is related to the minutes of the July 15th council meeting that are on the agenda to be adopted tonight, in case I need to say that. I understand that a significant change regarding the stormwater detention pond for Centre Mountain is now contemplated. And if this plan is finalized, the detention pond will no longer be on the bufferland, but will be located in the adjacent area owned by the Centre Mountain developer. I understand this is a new plan. I don't have any details, really, but and I understand that there are many details that need to be worked out, and that there hasn't been any official written communication to council yet, and that's why it's not on the agenda. But my question is whether council is able to provide any further insight on this, and in particular when some of the details might be available to the community. Thank you.
Okay.
Very little I could address.
Councillor Schuchat.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Ms. Leduc. And just very briefly, I can say that Langford is indicating to us that the stormwater detention pond will no longer be located in the bufferland. It is going to be located in Langford. Now, we're awaiting formal confirmation from that, and so until we get that, there's really not much more I can say, because that is just going to be speculation. I don't think that's productive. The one thing I can say is, we recognize that this is a matter of deep community concern, especially to those in the Neil Road area, but also those downstream as well from Bilston Creek, or along the Bilston Creek route. And we're just going to continue the way we've been doing this all along. We've been actively sharing information, and we recognize the concern in the community, and we're going to be continuing to bring information forward as we can. So, thank you. Very interesting development in all this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Joanne Cote, 4499 Leafield Road. With the results of the public hearing minutes on the agenda, this is the only opportunity I will have to address those results. The meeting was held on July 15th in regard to our application for rezoning and subdivision of our property at 4499 Leafield Road. This is not an attempt to change the current decision or reopen the discussion. I only wish to provide a few summary comments. We were told that we would have one opportunity to speak to a maximum of 4 minutes at the hearing. We used our time to present the accurate details of our application. We then listened to 11 people speak against and 7 people speak in support. Sorry, my husband's on a canoe trip, so I'm up here by myself. Yes, we listened to 11 people speak against and 7 people speak in support. A few of those people had the opportunity to speak twice. We weren't given a chance to address any of the inaccuracies presented or to present a rebuttal to any of their inaccurate statements. Of those who emailed in their comments, 7 people expressed their support and 16 expressed their opposition. We also had the written support of 24 of our neighbors. In regard to the emails submitted in opposition, 4 of them stated that they were opposed to a 10-acre parcel being subdivided into an 8-acre and a 2-acre parcel. As this wasn't even what our application was for, I don't see how they could be considered as opposition. Other emails stated our plans to increase the value of our property to sell it for a profit, but that's not what we planned to do. Addressing all the other inaccuracies will take most of the rest of this evening. Another point I'd like to make is that sending in both an email in opposition and speaking at the meeting shouldn't count as 2 votes against. So if you want to run the numbers, they were very closely divided for support and opposition. During the council meeting that followed, the council voted to reject our application. Some of the councillors spoke of wanting a housing needs assessment and an OCP review done. Well, considering the local, provincial, and national news that I've been hearing for the last number of years, I'm pretty sure there's a housing crisis in this entire country, and the Greater Victoria is included in that housing crisis. I've also been told that an official community plan review may not even touch on the difficulties of our proposition. One councillor stated the issue of drilling a well, relying on incorrect information that our current well runs dry and that the location of the new well to service the new house would cause problems with a neighbor's well because it would be drilled within 150 feet. Well, we haven't even located a potential well site, and our current well has never run dry in 38 years, having raised 4 kids. And boy, did they shower. As pointed out by the mayor during that conversation, wells are a provincial matter, and the municipal government has no say in whether a well is drilled or not. At the end of the meeting, after the decision was made, we asked for an official letter detailing the reasons for rejection and received only a video link to the recorded meeting. There were no written details, no reasons, or a legal document of any kind. So tonight I would ask again for an official letter from Metchosin stating specifically why our proposal was declined. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to speak at public participation?
My name is Dave Horn. I'm the president of the Victoria Motorcycle Club. I live at 2007 Dugan Place in the Highlands. I just wanted to talk a little bit about our application for consideration under the general tax exemption bylaw number 2024, number 704. I think I've got that right.
Councillor Donaldson wants to recuse herself for
Okay,
this
that's fine.
portion. Go ahead.
Yeah. I have copies here for you also.
Thank you.
You want to give one to Tina too, Brad?
Just for Tina, that'd be great.
Okay, just her?
Yeah, please, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so the Victoria Motorcycle Club was initially founded in 1906 as part of the Victoria Automobile and Motorcycle Club. The VMC became its own entity in 1912. It was formally constituted as a society in 1927 and registered under the BC Societies Act of 1947. We're a member of the Canadian Motorcycle. There was an inductee of the Canadian Motorcycle Hall of Fame in 2010 and inductee of the Greater Victoria Sports Hall of Fame in 2019. From its inception, the club has held monthly general meetings conducted using Robert's Rules of Order format. And there's also minutes of all the meetings back to then too. Since its beginning, the Victoria Motorcycle Club has promoted the sport of motorcycling of all types and for all ages. As a club, we believe that riding is one of the few things left that a family is orientated, healthy, enjoyable, and isn't prohibitively expensive. As a mode of transportation, motorcycling has several advantages over automobiles, such as fuel efficiency, resulted in a lower carbon footprint, and the simple fact that a motorcycle is easier to park than a car. For many years, the VMC has been a steward of the motorcycle club property in Metchosin. Preservation of the green space on Vancouver Island is becoming a tough challenge as urban sprawl encroaches on natural areas. The VMC has maintained the 175-acre plot in virtually the same natural state it was purchased in, with minimal trails clearing, much less than is required to create a park or a campsite. At present, the VMC is actively working to develop new riding areas in other areas of the island. Items to note: the VMC has supported the District of Metchosin's Fire Department to host regional training exercise on our property in 2022, with many departments attending from across all parts of Vancouver Island. The Metchosin SAR team held a wilderness training exercise on our property last year on the 9th of September, the 23rd of September 2023, with future possible training dates to be considered. I think it was a big success. The VMC provides funding opportunities for those Metchosin Fire Department Auxiliary and the Boy Scout troops in running food concession stands and donating proceeds from the 50-50 draws at selected events. In 2024, VMC made charitable donations to the Vancouver Island Ride for Life for prostate cancer, BC Children's Hospital Foundation, BC Cancer Foundation, Vancouver Island chapter, with funds raised from events held on our property. The VMC follows a good neighbor policy by protecting our forest property from fire risk during extended drought periods by enacting partial and or full property closures depending on what the fire ban is. And no riding is allowed during those periods. That's it. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Anybody else wish to speak this evening? Okay, let's get Councillor Donaldson back.
She's in the office.
Okay, thank you. That concludes public participation. We'll move on to page 5 of the agenda, to the adoption of minutes. We have the report of the public hearing from July 15th, 2024 on page 5. Councillor Shukin.
Mayor Little, I would just simply move adoption.
Moved by Councillor Shukin, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. And then we have the council meeting of July 15th. I have a motion for adoption.
Move to adopt.
Moved by Councillor Donaldson, seconded by Councillor Epp. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. And then we have the special council meeting of July 23rd.
Move adoption.
Moved by Councillor Shukin, seconded by Councillor Epp. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And then the council meeting of July 31st, 2024.
Move adoption.
Moved by Councillor Epp, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. Excuse me. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And then we have minutes for receipts, starting Councillor Donaldson on page 29 with the Special Finance Committee meeting, joint meeting with the Ag Committee.
Move to receive the special finance committee meeting minutes of July 9th.
Moved by Councillor Donaldson, seconded by Councillor Epp. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. And then Councillor Shukin, we have notes from the Duke Road East Community Input Session of July 31st. Just a note, this is not minutes, it's just notes that we would like the community to have.
Yeah. And thank you. I'd just like to move receipt of the notes from the July 31st session.
Moved by Councillor Shukin, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And then Council Shukin, we have the Parks and Trails Advisory Select Committee meeting.
Thank you very much. I would just move receipt of the minutes of the August 7th PTAS meeting.
Okay, moved by Councillor Shukin, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Mayor's report. We have a riser report, a citizen appointment to the Fire Hall Steering Committee. Council has appointed Shane Sear to the Fire Hall Steering Committee for a 2-year term ending December 31st, 2026. Yesterday we had a very successful Metchosin Community Day. Thank you for all of council for being there and all the volunteers. Many thanks go out to V.O. Mitchell, Helen Fletcher, Helen Davies, Fire Chief Dunlop, and all the hundreds of volunteers that made it such a great day. Congratulations, and with our many thanks. Councillor Shukin, did you have anything to add since you are a liaison to the Metchosin Community Day?
Yeah, no, just to echo what you said, Mayor Little, I would, characterize V.O. Mitchell as the general of a large campaign that instead of wards off the enemy, welcomes the community, but it's very daunting, and she has a great team, and those team members go out and find volunteers as well. And VO asked me to help out with parking this year. I had a team of 7, and they were fantastic. Including, I'll point out, Mr. Donaldson was part of that. But the volunteers are just everywhere, from the hay rides to the people in the booths to, of course, our firefighters and the guy running the digger, everywhere. So, yeah, it's a great community effort. And again, congratulations to VO for pulling it all together. So, thank you.
That's great. Thank you very much. Okay, a couple of weeks ago, we had a very sad incident at Taylor Beach, and I was wondering if I could ask the fire chief to speak to this very sad occurrence.
Yeah, at approximately 6:15, 6:21, I think, in the morning, we responded to a cardiac arrest call. And due to our new model that we have now, we have 2 people that sleep there from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And then we have the staff that starts at 6 a.m. We usually have 2 that start at 6 a.m. So it's working around the model. So we always make sure we have 2 people at the hall. In which case this worked out really well. So we were able to, with the crews that were still around the hall at that early in the morning and our crews that were coming on shift, we were able to roll a truck, and we were there within 3 minutes. And then some of us responded directly from home as well. So I was the second apparatus on scene, and when you go to a cardiac arrest call, you're already really super amped. And then to have 4 people. So that was in the middle of being radioed in when we arrived on scene. And it's quite an emotional event to have happen. This is not a normal thing, right? Multiple casualties in a car accident, a little bit more, your expectation is there. Cardiac arrest is a different story. So our new employee was actually first on scene. Thankfully, he is a previous ALS, Advanced Life Support person from Surrey. So he right away went into what we call triaging our patients, so figuring out who is, where we can do the best benefit in survivability for the patients all there. Quickly, other crews came on scene. We had all of our medical equipment. We must have had every truck there, and ambulance had, I think, about 6 trucks. I mean, there were trucks, emergency vehicles parked all the way up and down Taylor Road. It was quite an event. Fortunately, 2 people did survive. They're currently in the hospital now, but only because we got there so quickly. Like 3 minutes is pretty good time once they were found. We don't know how long they were there before we got there. So it just goes to, thank you for supporting the fire department in our new model. I think it has changed, certainly for these 2 gentlemen that certainly saved their lives, quite frankly. They are now out of ICU and they're in a ward. So they'll probably be in the hospital for a little bit longer. But yeah, we think that, we live in a beautiful community, and we do, that it doesn't have issues, doesn't have hidden issues, but this drug concern, this drug, pandemic or urgency that we have in the South Island is here. We've responded to cardiac arrest 8 times in a week. And those are not cardiac issues. Those are not all of them, but a lot of them are overdoses. So it's here in Metchosin. And we just have to be aware of that. And whatever we can do to educate, training, no CPR, all that good stuff to try and just be aware of what's in your community. So we actually had another one yesterday.
Okay.
And if that gives you a little snapshot, we did do critical incident stress management with all of our firefighters that were on scene. Some of them had never done CPR before, had never seen anything like that before. So right away, we of course called in our peer support, and we did get some additional mental health support for them as well. So,
Okay.
yeah, any other questions or anything on that?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. That concludes the mayor's report. We've got business arising starting on page 41 of your agenda package. Councillor Shukin, this is the Parks and Trails Advisory Select Committee recommendations from July 16th.
Yes, thank you very much. This is a bench that was done as a tribute to one of Metchosin's pioneers, and I've since been in touch with the family who has indicated, or the family member has indicated that they would like the bench restored. So what we're proposing is that the bench would be restored at PTAS cost. It was quite old and was damaged by a falling tree. What we're looking at doing, and this will come back to council at some point, is updating the guidelines for memorial benches such that if you sponsor a memorial bench, and we have 2 that will be coming up in the next little while, you pay that fee for, I think we're looking at a period of 10 years. This is what we're going to propose. Then after that, you'll be approached with an opportunity to renew. And at that point, whether you renew or not, is discussion between the family and PTAS or staff. So that's the general nub of what we're looking at right now. But because this is a bench that has quite old and well established and actually honors one of the pioneer families, we thought we would start afresh, have PTAS pay for it, and then we'll try and apply the new guidelines to this as well. So I would move that council replace the Hillman Trail Memorial Bench using the Parks and Trails Advisory Select Committee budget, and that the donors be engaged to pay for upkeep based on the amended Parks and Trails donation program guidelines in order for their plaque to be reinstated.
Okay.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Shukin, seconded by Councillor Gray. Comments?
And it's Mac Page's bench, I think?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. And we have reports for information starting on page 43. So we can take a receipt of both of the reports for July and August. This is the Metchosin Building Inspection Department.
Move receipt.
Moved by Councillor Shukin, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. Questions? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. And then similarly, we have a public communications report for July and August, the District of Metchosin Public Communication Statistics. Move receipt by Councillor Donaldson, seconded by Councillor F. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. And then we have the monthly bylaw and animal care services report for July and August on page 51 and 55 for your perusal, and looking for a motion to receive.
No receipt.
Moved by Councillor M, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And we've got correspondence for actions starting on page 61. We have a letter from Mayor Doug Kobayashi, the Mayor of Colwood, asking if we would be interested in non-financial support from our municipality, in-kind support for providing expertise, communication, and leadership in collaboration to support Ukraine. On page 63, they've got an example of the agreement for the establishment of a friendship city, as well as the staff report from their council meeting of July 8th. Is there any interest around the table for supporting this initiative? Hello?
What are the obligations that they're requiring? So some of what I read was monetary, other was in kind.
Yeah, I think how I read it was in kind. I don't know a lot about it, to tell you the truth. All I have is what you have before you, and the information on what a sister city is, what a friendship city is, what the city of Langford has done in the past, and background on the Vancouver Island Supports Ukraine program. That's right.
In reading it, it just kind of sounded to me that down the road there actually could be fairly substantial costs involved. And this is not really specific, but it just sounded like it.
That there may be financial implications for the future. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. Anybody else? Okay. Seeing none, why don't we just leave it here? I'll have some more conversations with the City of Langford and City of Colwood mayors. You can reach out also to the councillors, and we can see if we can get some more information and bring this back. Okay, thank you. Okay. The City of Langford, on page 71 of the council agenda, they request also that Vancouver Island supports Ukraine fundraising activities. We'll table that as well. On page 73, Councillor Donaldson, we have Scouts Canada, Greater Vancouver, Greater Victoria request. Did you want to speak to this? I know you've got quite a bit of experience with the Scouts Canada.
Yeah, this is an annual event they've been doing for, a number of years. I was involved with Scouts Canada for 15 of those years, and it's been a while since then, so well over 20 years ago, so I'd say decades. So half of the money is put towards Camp Bernard for refurbishing it, and Camp Bernard is also rented out to the public as well. You can actually go up there, and people have family reunions. We've had groups come in and actually do work on putting roofs on cabins and that sort of stuff. They get to stay the weekend, so it ends up that their organizations do community service work as well. So it's a great place to go for lots of different events. So 50% of the fundraising goes towards Camp Bernard. Also wanted to just say that they've had 3 jamborees there since 2019, I believe. 2015 was the first one. I worked both of them, and they had one just this summer. So that brings children from all over Canada, actually, that can afford to fundraise to come out to it. And they have upwards of 3,000 people on site. They set up a hospital. They're all self-contained, very high security. It's quite a feat. When they did the first one that I worked with in 2015, at that time they were looking at, because they have their own water source and such, they were looking at the place for emergency gathering, similar to what we've talked about here in Metchosin with the school and the church for registering and stuff like that. They're still working on that because it is a little bit out in the forest, but a lot of Otter Point area is forested. So that's another thing they're working on. All of their, they got 3 commercial kitchens, everything is updated. They have a team that goes out there every week. Plus the work release program of William Head goes out and helps every week as well. So 50% of the fundraising goes towards that, and the other 50% do the programming of the youth across GBA, which is Greater Victoria area, and a lot of programs at that site. So it's a beautiful facility. So what they're asking for here is to allow our local group, which is the 14th one of UCA, to be able to stand out in front of businesses, and they will already had insurances set up with that, to be able to not hand out, they call it Apple Day. Basically people just make a donation, and the children will usually talk about the benefits and experiences that they've had or what scouting is, and so it's just a really good PR program. And so they're just asking if this is okay, if they can do it again in our community, because it's been so successful in all the years that 1420 have been here.
Mm-hmm. Did you want to put forward a motion?
Yes, I would like to move that we welcome them again in our community to do their Apple Day on the dates that they've proposed here.
Okay, on October 5th and or the 6th. Okay.
I'll second.
Moved by Councillor Donaldson, seconded by Councillor Shukin. Anybody else wish to comment? Certainly worthwhile cause, absolutely. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. And we have correspondence for information starting with page 75. This is a letter from the District of Highlands regarding provincial funding for the youth councillor position of the Mobile Youth Services team. Yep, and this is for your information. Similarly, on page, moving now, actually we should probably get a motion to receive. Could I have a motion to receive the District of Highlands letter? Motion from Councillor Donaldson and Councillor Epp, second. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. And we have a letter from Mayor Marianne Alto from Victoria to the Honourable Member Lana Popham, urging the Ministry to reconsider the regional areas policy because it penalizes arts within the urban areas. And I don't know if there has been a response, but it's a letter well sent. So I'll take a motion to receive.
We'll receive.
Moved by Councillor Epp, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And then we have a letter in response to our letter regarding invasive mussels entering BC waters. This is a letter from the Biodiversity Management Program, Fisheries and Oceans Canada, regarding funding, additional fishery officers, and programs, scientific advice that they're offering to collaborate with the province. They thanked us for our letter and for bringing it to their attention. They also provided a number of different links here, DFO links, if we want more information on that. Anybody wish to comment on this?
Well, simply the importance of cleaning boats and things as you move from one body of water to another.
Okay.
It's critical. There's a lot of worry about these mussels coming our way. The CRD, I think, have signs at Masson Lake, and they're offered signs for Metchosin's of Lincoln as well.
Okay. And could I take a motion to receive, Councillor Gray?
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Gray, seconded by Councillor Shukin. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. And then we have a very disappointing letter from Minister Farnsworth to our at least second advocacy letter to support the MISS team and the CRED team. They thank us for our letter, but they've denied our request for continued funding for the Pacific Center for Family Services, which provide the Mobile Youth Services team and the CRED team. I'm so disappointed by this because it's really needed. And with School District 61 taking the position that police officers are no longer welcome in the classrooms within School District 61, once the police officers moved out, we have factual information that the gangs moved in. And this Mobile Youth Services team did phenomenal work, and their funding runs out at the end of October. And so it was disappointing that I did hear from both Mitzi Dean and Honorable Mitzi Dean and Honorable Grace Laura that they were going to put this in as a line item. And for some reason, it wasn't put into their budget. So I'm just so disappointed. You know, we either pay for this now or we pay for it later at the prison or in the corrections. So we'll be advocating for more funding at the Victoria Family Court and Youth Justice. But anyways, that's the letter that we received there, unfortunately.
Mayor Little, I just wanted to extend our gratitude for the work that you are doing with the Youth Justice Group.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, and I think this group has actually come a long way, and under your leadership certainly has been great that you've advocated for our youth.
Yeah, thank you. And we've got a forum at our meeting this month with the police chief of Victoria, Dalmatic, representatives from the school district, just to see, you know, they canceled the police officers in their schools and what we're asking and what are they replacing it with. I mean, they really care what it is as long as they have some kind of plan for dealing with that. So thank you for that. And we have then a letter from UBCM, a good news story, which is the Canada Community Building Fund, which used to be called the Gas Fund. They have transferred $147,000 into our account, and I understand from our CFO that we can expect another payment this year, so about $300,000 a year.
Correct.
Yes.
It's a small bump come 2027 to 305.
Yes. Okay. So that's very welcome for our coffers. So thanks for receiving that, CFO crew. Moving along to bylaws. Speaking of the Chief Financial Officer, we've got the staff report, the 2025 permissive tax exemption bylaws on page 95.
Mayor Little, I'd like to recuse myself as a perceived conflict of interest as my family is involved with the Victoria Motorcycle Club, which is listed on here.
Okay. Thank you.
It might be, depending on how we're going to follow things, there's one bylaw, 703, that involves the Anglican Synod, which is a separate motion, I think, a separate bylaw. Do you want to deal with one first and then the other one?
Okay. Yep, so we'll do bylaw 703 first.
Okay.
We're going to do 703 first.
Okay.
But thank you for that. Thank you for being diligent. But let's deal with 703. So, Mr. Creeks, would you introduce this for us, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So this is for the permissive tax exemptions for the 2025 tax year. They're all the same as what you granted for 2024, except for the new one at the bottom there for BC Parks Foundation. So they acquired 32 acres of land over there from 3701 Stoop Road. You approved that back in July. And so I just threw in some numbers there to show the total taxes that are going to be distributed to the remaining properties that aren't tax exempt in the district. Everything's on the up and up. They're all nonprofits or charitable organizations or philanthropic, provide something to the community. So there's not a whole lot to go on there. This will only be for the year 2025. You can grant for up to 10 years if you would like. But I think based on how everybody's operated around here, we've done the 1 year at a time. And then for next year, I believe we're going to be looking at getting some kind of application form just to get some more information from everybody, some financial information, who they're helping in the community, and then any other third-party use, just to make sure everything's still looking good. Any questions?
Council, do you have any questions for our CFO? Pretty straightforward. Okay, thank you, Mr. Coates. Oh, just hold on, one more.
Not so much for, just to the issue. Just reminding council that we had, one of our 2024 priorities was to engage landowners of tax exempt properties about land protection strategies. And I think we should probably just carry on this evening, but think about that for the remainder of the year and into next year, what we'll do in that regard.
Land preservation, you mean tree preservation, biodiversity?
Yes. Yes, what we had was land protection strategies. So just the, maintaining the forest canopy, that kind of thing. MEASC has begun a discussion about that to bring some ideas forward, but that'll, trip along as the year goes by, and we can look at it further.
Okay, so let's deal with the heritage tax exemption bylaw. The recommendation is that council give first, second, and third reading to the heritage tax exemption bylaw 2024 number 703. Could I have somebody, Councillor Shukin?
Sure.
Start with first.
Thank you. Great. I am just page 95. 95. 95?
Mm-hmm.
Recommendations.
Thank you. Okay. And Tina, Ms. Hanson, I can do this all at one statement, or do you need me to do?
You can give first,
Yeah.
second, and third.
Okay. Mayor Little, I would move that council give first, second, and third reading to the Heritage Tax Exemption Bylaw 2024, number 703.
Okay, this is moved by Councillor Shukin, seconded by Councillor Epp. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, now we are going to do the General Tax Exemption Bylaw 2024, number 704.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll recuse myself as well, as I'm a trustee at the community hall.
Okay, thank you. Hi, you what?
It was just something else.
Okay.
I just wanted to mention, the gentleman came up earlier talking about the private schools, and it is noted on the page that it is the exemption for the buildings and land of private schools is through provincial legislation, so it's not a Metchosin decision.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. So, how about if one of you do the first, second, and third reading? Go ahead, Councillor Shukin.
Thank you, Mayor Little. I would move that council give first, second, and third reading to General Tax Exemption Bylaw 2024, number 704. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Shukin, seconded by Councillor F. Discussion. Any discussion regarding the organizations or the property descriptions? BCSPCA, Camp Thunderbird, Metchosin Hall Society, Anglican Synod, Diocese of BC, Church of St. Mary's the Virgin, Victoria Motorcycle Club, and the BC Parks Foundation. Yeah. Okay, all in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay, so we can get our remainder of council back in. Okay, thank you. And we've got other business as the very last item of our agenda. Councillor Donaldson, this is regarding the Metchosin Agricultural Area Plan that was passed earlier this evening at the special finance meeting. Would you move that recommendation that council approve the Metchosin Agricultural Area Plan as amended?
Thank you. Yes, I move that we approve the amended agricultural plan for Metchosin.
Okay. This is moved by Councillor Donaldson, seconded by Councillor Gray. Comments?
I just want to say again that I'm very pleased with the amount of work that the Agricultural Committee has done, not only just on this plan this year, but before I even was involved with yourself leading the charge in the last term, and the foresight to have seen this through the years, but finally be supported by this council and our community. We have a lot of input from community. There's great excitement going forth. Just even yesterday we had a booth at Metchosin Day, and people are really interested to learn about growing their own food. I'm hoping that we'll start to see the upswing of that, and this plan will certainly help us in obtaining some resources and hopefully some funding to do some workshops and support our local farmers and expand our ever-changing landscape of agriculture as well, which it is, especially across the region. So we have great hopes for great things.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. Okay, we have a motion on the table. I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you very much. Boy, it's nice to get that finally approved.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Congratulations to this council. And that's it. It is before 9:30, so we have time for a question period. Does anybody in the audience, or not in the audience, yeah, I guess you're sort of audience. Does anybody out there have any questions for us? If so, state your name and your street.
Lisa Gee, Kangaroo Road. Councillor Gray, I was just wondering if you can expand more on what you were discussing about the CRD.
Some time ago, the CRD made application, I think, to the federal government for funds for EV chargers throughout the CRD. And I don't know if it was before our time. I mean, it's been in the stages for a long time. And so it was a grant application, and Metchosin had their names in for 2 chargers to replace the 2 chargers that are here. I'm not sure of the nature of who the provider is. I think it's a commercial operation. At any rate, our planner here is in touch with the CRD about the approval that occurred, and now we're just waiting for the paperwork to get done and then for the EV chargers to arrive. But I don't have a timeline, but we can talk about that separately.
That's happening.
Yes, yeah. It was the approval was so important. I said, when will it come? And it's, we don't know. And I thought, oh golly, but it's happening.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think they're level 2 chargers, not level 3, but I can be corrected on that.
Good news.
Yeah.
Happy White House, Rocky Point Road, and are they paid per use chargers?
That's what we'll find out.
The original ones were free.
That's why they're no longer here.
Anybody else wish to speak at question period? Everybody's tired. Okay, let's take a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Donaldson, seconded by Councillor Epp. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Great. Thank you, everybody. Welcome back to the fall session.
And it just gets busier.